Greetings, my friends. Thank you for watching this video, and if you would be so kind, please subscribe if you like what you see. Help our channel to keep growing and keep fighting the war to save pop culture. Together, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy. Enjoy, and thanks. Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and I'm here today with a rumor regarding what went wrong with the Book of Boba Fett. This is undoubtedly the worst of the Disney Star Wars series, and a big black eye for the Favreau-verse. The really weird thing about this show was its schizophrenia. The first 4 episodes were lackluster to poor, then we got 2 outstanding episodes, and then the piss-poor finale that outraged this fan to the point where I had to question if I even care about Star Wars anymore. The alleged reason for this strange schizophrenia was revealed to me by sources who claimed that after the first 4 episodes, Disney decided essentially to cancel most of the rest of the series, which was slotted for 8 episodes. They cut 3 originally scheduled episodes, substituted 2 episodes from season 3 of The Mandalorian, cut 1 episode entirely, and then revamped the final episode, which we all saw. Unfortunately. This neatly explained why the series felt like 2 different shows. It literally was 2 different shows. But the question remains, why did Book of Boba Fett suck in the first place? What went wrong exactly? Well, in this video, I may possibly have an answer for you, and the answer allegedly, according to a news source, was Robert Rodriguez.
Robert Rodriguez used to be a pretty good director, but then he grew up and had kids, and well, I guess Shark Boy and Lava Girl does things to a man.
Evidently, directing kiddie shows can be hazardous to your career. You get a case of the cutesies, and after that your action directing gets as limp as a Tijuana donkey, all out of Viagra. But I digress. Now at this point, I'd like to stress that this is a walk-in source. In other words, not a source that went through and was vetted by my Hollywood spies. So I have no way of knowing if this individual is providing disinformation or has some kind of agenda I'm not privy to. So when I get information like this, I evaluate it as best as I can, going over the backstory, matching the info against what I already know and my own observations. What does logic tell me about what this source is saying? So at this point, I will tell you that what I'm about to present to you is information provided to me by an individual claiming to have knowledge of the situation. But since I cannot personally confirm what I'm sharing with you today, I ask you to consider this unverified rumor and to take it with a teaspoon of salt. That said, this information is rather compelling. To protect the source, I have to obscure a lot of what they told me about how they came up with this information, but I can say that this person has extensive contacts with people in the industry, and in particular, a large number of people who worked on Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. And as people do, sometimes they let their guard down and talk. The source says that in their circle, while initially people were hesitant to speak about the Book of Boba Fett since a lot of their mutual acquaintances, quote, either worked on Boba or Mando or are friends with people who did, and no one likes talking bad about our friends' work, even though you can only do the best you can with what you are handed, unquote. However, once the show was finished and had aired, tongues loosened, and this is the tale that emerged. My source claims, quote, the word is that much of the fault with this show actually lies with Robert Rodriguez as much as anyone else. Paraphrasing what was said, Rodriguez did an amazing job on his episode of Mando, then once he got Boba, he fucked off and was rather lackadaisical in his approach. Storylines, plot points, bad new characters, and a desire to put things he thought were cool in, whether or not they fit right or disrupted things, caused as many problems in production as anything else. Now, after the performance of Book of Boba Fett and the reactions to those things by the fans, his future involvement will be throttled back significantly. For what it is worth, you've probably heard these things already, but these are from first-hand sources of people with big credits on the shows, unquote. Intrigued? I followed up and asked this source, how could Rodriguez be the one at fault here? It was feeling to me like this could possibly be spun to put the blame on a scapegoat, possibly even away from KK loyalists or even KK herself, so I was curious as to how this could come to pass. I asked the source, was Favreau AWOL? Did he just turn it over to Rodriguez and go work on other things? After all, Favreau is given script credit on these episodes, so what? Did Rodriguez diverge from the script? Or did Favreau just hand him an outline with parts that were scripted and other parts telling Rodriguez to improvise, as he did in the Mando Season 2 episode where Rodriguez had to fill 10 plus minutes extra with just a broad outline of the action? The source replied with further explanation, quote, in general, what I heard was that the main story was there, more than an outline, but Rodriguez tried to shoehorn in all these things he thought were cool, like the mods/Vespas. That is 100% on him, and him trying to continue with those characters is one of the reasons he's been cut. He is putting his own stuff over Star Wars themes, etc., which is a no-go for Filoni and Favreau now. The exact word used about Rodriguez's participation on Book of Boba Fett was lackadaisical. He got his prize and then half-assed it. He concentrated on his stuff, not the Star Wars elements, and a lot of his stuff took away from the main story. Over 3 episodes, that focus changed a lot of the overall arc. What I hear is that he chose to emphasize, quote, his parts/ideas, unquote, and in that way derailed much of the story, and his lackadaisical approach led him to the bad directing we saw on the screen, unquote. After this source told me they tried to get more info regarding the script and who had input on it, they continued with further explanation of how Rodriguez allegedly messed up. Quote, playing fast and loose on set and emphasizing what you want to or not can seriously alter what ends up being shot and definitely limits what an editor can do with it though. These guys have been very tight-lipped though. If a spoiler got out during production, they'd be shot. Talking smack afterwards has been a little more open, however, unquote. I was then told some things I can't really reveal without risking doxing this source, but the level of detail here was impressive, leading me to believe this story is, if unconfirmed, at least plausible, albeit with my aforementioned cautions. The source then elaborated further on what allegedly went wrong during production. Quote, Book of Boba Fett really was a disappointment. Apparently, part of the issue with Disney was that deadlines were a main problem in that they had to be met, and by the time certain issues were realized, it was too late. On paper, everything looked good. Imagine if the Vespa chase scene had come across like something from Baby Driver or 6 Underground. Knowing Rodriguez and all his other work, that's what everyone thought they were going to get. Not Back to the Future 2 in slow motion. The Vespas don't lean, they don't go fast, there is no threat. They run through a painting and get a load of fruit dumped on someone. This was made for 3-year-olds, unquote. Which was exactly my thought as I was watching this nonsense unfold. I mean, watching Book of Boba Fett, I felt like I was watching the Shark Boy and Lava Girlization of Star Wars. The dissonance of the stylistic elements like the cheesy mods, the sparkling clean Vespas on a desert planet, it did indeed feel like a clashing of elements, Favreau's elements not meshing at all well with Rodriguez's elements.
I was really taken aback at how weird this show was, kind of like Two-Face in the Batman comics. It's like, will this episode of Book of Boba Fett suck? Well, flip a coin. And the scarred side mostly came up.
Quality should not be a coin flip, Harvey, but let's move on. Darth Shark Boy is not the way to move Star Wars forward, and after this performance, Rodriguez's involvement in Star Wars will be lessened according to this source, who goes on to explain how this mess came about. Quote, like I told you, they were super happy with the work on Chapter 14 of The Mandalorian, and they wanted to bring another of their friends into the fold who would help support them in the fight against Kathleen Kennedy. They thought he was a super Star Wars fan and was going to do what they needed. On paper, everything for the series to work was there. Instead, he apparently fucked off and didn't carry the ball, spent more time on the mods and stuff and didn't make it work. He even tried to get them to put the mods into the next Mandalorian. They tried to save things. Editors can only do so much if the original footage looks terrible or something wasn't filmed. But it was already too late in the ball game to salvage more than they did. So yes, the directorial work really did screw up the story that much, as far as I am hearing, unquote. So there you have it, my friends. A very interesting piece of information leaked to me about the Book of Boba Fett. But what say you? Has this rumor the ring of truth? Or is this simply disinformation designed to deflect blame away from the real culprit? Regardless, that this series was uneven and schizophrenic is undeniable. As to the cause, this may well explain why. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.